Travis Wayne Goodsill. I got the rain going on tonight. I didn't know this until I had been living in Utah for quite a while. But during World War II, from 1941 to 1945, after Pearl Harbor was bombed, it was bombed 41, right? That's the internment camp. Am I getting this correct? Yeah, December 7th, 1941. And so after that, apparently we were quick to lock them up. Any American citizen who was Japanese origin was locked up in the Topaz, Utah internment camp. And let's call it what it was. It was America's version of the Nazi concentration camps. Let's not play games on names. George Takei from Star Trek was he in Utah's one, or was he in another one? He's spoken out about the Topaz one here in Utah. He lived in a U.S.-run internment camp during World War II. Which one? Early life. Born. His father. Had several relatives living in Japan during World War II. Let's see, the family was transferred to the, let's go back here. In 1942, the family was forced to live in the converted horse stables of Santa Anita Park, so California. Okay. The Rower War Relocation Center for Internment in Rower, Arkansas. Oh, okay, so, wow. Transferred from California to Arkansas. Dear God. The internment camp was in the swamplands and surrounded by barbed wire fence. Yeah, concentration camp. The family was later transferred to Tule Lake War Relocation Center in California, and then back to California. Dear God. He had an aunt and an infant cousin who lived in Hiroshima. Both were killed in that bombing, the nuke bombing. They were found burnt in a ditch. Oh, dear God. So, yeah. We're in World War III. NATO is refusing to get involved because Ukraine is not a NATO ally, official member. And it's a members-only club. You only get privilege if you're a member. You only get protected if you're a member. However, there are some people sneaking in who cannot sit idly by and allow human beings to be slaughtered. when they're crying for help. But businesses are pulling support from Russia. They're pulling out of Russia. The sanctions we all know about. They're still debating if they're going to actually pull the plug on gas and oil, because that'll be the big one that the whole world will suffer as a consequence. If you play with snakes, you're going to get bit. But nonetheless, people don't learn from history. And so you've probably heard of the yachts that have been seized, of the oligarchs. And Fox 13 News Utah found the 2 Russians working for the Bank of Utah, right here in Utah, who are supplying the planes for Russia. And so the Department of Justice is supposed to be doing something sometime. But this is what you should be expecting, as people are already they're investigating war crimes by Putin and his army. The whole world is condemning what he's done. And Biden administration is again pleading with Americans in Russia to evacuate Russia, to leave Russia immediately. And so, as long as Putin does not attack NATO countries, he will be allowed to continue to conquer Ukraine. But there is an overwhelming demand from the people of the world, as protests are being held all over the world, protesting Putin and his actions, even within Russia, as Putin keeps retaliating. Apparently there were journalists murdered by the Russian soldiers today, according to one news source. I haven't found others to confirm that yet, but that would be retaliation that Putin again did, as people of the NATO countries are banning Russian TV. He blew up the Ukrainian TV tower because of the previous threats, and Putin's now banned social medias from Russia, turning it into state TV with no access to the outside world, just like China has. And so a big deal. Businesses in America, there's one in New York, a restaurant in New York that's a Russian restaurant. They're being persecuted, and it is necessary, if you're Russian outside of Russia, that if you don't want to be attacked for being Russian and supporting Putin, you need to actually come out and say you denounce Putin, that you left Russia, you came to the particular country to escape Russia and its oppression. You need to be vocal, you need to be outspoken. During World War II and afterward, with the McCarthy Red Scare, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints made sure to let everybody know openly that the church is not communist. Yeah. They were Nazi. So of course they weren't communist. They supported Hitler and punished Mormons who tried to free Jews in Germany. Moroni and the swastika. And so the church is providing minimal help. They claim they're helping. They don't tell us how much they're helping, because we'll find out that it's minimal. And they do it through the Red Cross rather than directly to the stake presidents in those countries, so that they can get out the access. So the church just is a worldwide church, but they refuse to be a worldwide church. They have the setup and the potential to set up a worldwide transportation and warehousing system for any time there's an emergency around the world, and they just refuse to do such a thing. And so instead they pass the buck by giving to other charities, when the church itself is supposed to be a charity, and they have all these businesses to make supplies for this purpose. But yeah, but remember, I'm the one that broke the news, because I'm the only one doing the investigative journalism on this, because the church silences and destroys people's lives if they dare to molest or make afraid the church. But when Nelson got up and said a temple in a major city yet to be determined in Russia, which still to this day is the only location that is yet to be determined, they paid Russia down payment stuff, and there is no temple after all these years. So what did Putin use the money for? Yeah, cyber attacks using Mormon-owned businesses, and for the war. The church paid for this war. And, as I've been the one to point out before Pat Robertson did, Ezekiel 38. Bruce R. McConkie in the chapter headings makes it very clear this war is the war of the latter days, of which Jesus is supposed to come and stop it. And the reason why is because Christians, and thus the church, are in a conflict over whether it's supposed to be in Ukraine or whether it's supposed to be in Jerusalem. Wow, everything just went silent all of a sudden. That's weird. And the church had the missionaries pulled from Ukraine. The mission president closed down the temple. But now this is the second time America has urged strongly for all Americans to get out of Russia. There have been Americans who've served in Russia. The mission presidents, I think they're Russian names, but we've had Americans involved before. The video clips on YouTube about missionaries getting in trouble with the Russians, getting arrested even, those kids were American. That was 2020. It was 2022. Just announced. Don't tell me you pulled it. Google, put top priorities first. Don't pull an Amazon on us. Or a YouTube. Oh, right, you own YouTube. So they use the same algorithm search engine. Got it. So 10. They put Europe or Russia in Europe's area, which is wrong. It's supposed to be a part of Asia. Europe East area. Okay, so yeah, here's still so Adam and Heather West. That sounds like a Russian name, doesn't it? Christopher L. and Trista S. Eastland in St. Petersburg. The Wests are in Moscow. And the others are Russian sounding. Adam and Heather West have a link. I know them. Oh, crap. They know me. I know. Oh, crap. What? Is that them? Who are they? Oh, the cow. Oh. Oh, crap. Wrong ones. That freaked me out. Where are they? West, there we go. Yeah, I don't know them. That is just freaky. Sister Nadia A. Cates and President Sean R. Cates to serve in Costa Rica Jose West Mission. Participate in the 2021 seminar for new mission leaders in a hotel room in Chula Vista, California. Man, I know them. That is freaky. Okay, where are the Wests? God. Guys, get out. So I can only get their picture apparently. But they're from the Weaver Lake Ward, Anoka, Minnesota stake. Minnesota Mormons. And when would they have been? Begin service in July. Okay. Okay. Whew. So they haven't gone yet. So yeah, they're not going to go. But there are still missionaries. And they don't call them missionaries, even though the sister missionary caught by the Russian police or military police had a missionary journal in English, and you're trying to convince them you're not missionaries when you have missionary journal that you brought to the district leader meeting. God, I just don't think. And so they will be succeeding Mikhail J. Anderson and Sister Amy Anderson. Mikkel is not the English version, so let's see if we can find their information. It's back in 2019. Okay. There's 6 children. They're from the Manetti Ward, Bremerton, Washington Stake. They are American. There's their picture. Dear God, guys, get the hell out of Russia. Save those missionaries. What the hell is wrong with you people? But Nelson hasn't told us to leave. Yeah, it's because he's the great and abominable church leader, the false Christ. Get out! Run for your lives! The homecoming queen's got a gun. Paid for by the LDS church. How many of you remember that song? Majority of my audience are from my generation and up, so I'm willing to bet most of you know that song. Oh, guys. And so, yeah, the church still, and I'm willing to bet, still nothing today. Family Discovery Day was today. And so, yeah, nothing. Nothing at all. How the church is helping refugees. Elder Cook honors former U.S. Senator Lieberman. Why are we honoring people? Highlights from Roots Tech. 2022 leadership instruction for the new temple presidents, or family history missionaries, or whatever it was for. Latter-day Saints in Europe provide relief and help to refugees, but not the church. Do you see that? The Mormons have to step up and do what the church is not doing. And yet they're showing the church. Sending supplies. Bastards. They just deceive you with sleight of hand, showing you pictures of the church, but when you read the text, it's the Mormons in Europe that are doing all the work. It's not the church. But yeah, that, like I said, the amount of relief that you see in the picture, that's it. That's all they're sending. They've done it before with natural disasters here in America, and they show us, and they lay it all out. Oh, look at all this water and food. Yep, oh, we're so good. One truck. One. For a whole city. Just one truck. I'm sorry, but one truck pretty much is this building. Because people's lives are destroyed. You can't just give them one meal and say you've helped. They need meals for weeks and months. These refugees, the rest of their lives. Ukraine is going to be destroyed. Putin will not allow them to go back. He's already telling us. Today he said, Ukrainian statehood is now in jeopardy because of NATO. He has no intention. And so he's kicked out the Ukrainians. and we'll put in Russians when all is said and done. He already knows what he's doing. And so here in America, don't be surprised if I'm already hearing it with that Russian restaurant in New York. They're getting picked on. But you can't just say, I'm not a part of this. I'm living here trying to make a life for myself. Nope, not good enough. There's this thing called sleeper cells. You have to prove to people you're not a sleeper cell either. And that's where it's going to be tough. Because Fox 13 News Utah and then me expose sleeper cells here in Utah. Right in the church administration, in the General Quorum of 70. And so, yeah, internment camps will be set up again or reopened. They'll have to be rebuilt, I imagine. Maybe we'll use the Walmarts. Martial law. But that's what they did for the refugees and those seeking asylum at the southern border. They locked them all up in Walmarts until they can get the tent cities built, and refused to let the news and Congress in to see what was going on inside. But yeah, it's coming. And if this lasts past the midterms, when we all know MAGA will sweep, then we're going to see a switch in who occupies the camps. But they'll justify, well, that was what Biden was doing, and he wrongly locked up the wrong people. We know it's coming. But for right now, maybe Biden won't even have the courage to protect America, as your gas prices and other prices are skyrocketing now. And we're in a drought, even though we've got rain coming down tonight here in Utah, where I'm living. We're going to have a worse drought than we had last year, because we already broke the record for the driest January and February. I warned you. I keep warning you, and you get upset. Oh, you can't tell us that you told us so, because then we won't listen. We just shut you off. Yeah, well, you do so at your own risk. This is your life on the line here. This isn't something you want to get upset with and have your pride hurt so that you put your life in danger. But it's coming. People will be rounded up for being Russian. And anybody who supports Russia will be rounded up. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is supporting Russia. So, the church is used to being locked up. They've been locked up before. Back in John Taylor's day, right before he died, in 1887. Well, so, you guys are not grasping the big picture. At least the youngins. I think the reason why the elderly are the majority of my viewers is because they actually understand where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. And it's you youngins who came because of Brad Wilcox. You do not understand. Your parents kept it a sacred secret from you. And you're in for a big shock as you think that If somebody in the church does something, that you can just tell them to do the right thing and they'll change. You're in for a very rude awakening. It's the good old boys who are in charge of this church.